You're listening to the Deep Dive Dealcast, the show that dissects every layer of real estate, from the dirt under the deal to the numbers behind the contract. With over 50 years of combined experience, your hosts bring you the truth behind the market shifts, the anatomy of good deals, and the landmines to avoid. Grab your notebook, you're in the right place.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Shay McGee and Judy Forden coming back with the Deep Dive Dealcast. And this week we have something that's on everybody's mind, but we want to dig a little bit deeper into it, of course, which is the spring market. Everybody, especially in Utah, goes bonkers for the spring rush. And a lot of people will push you, now's the right time to sell, now's the right time to buy, now's the right time to all that. We're not going to push you. We're going to go over some things to make sure that you don't get swept up in the emotion of the spring rush and
Right.
get the job done as best possible for you, because we just think that that's really more helpful than pushing you into doing something. And that's really not our energy anyway.
No, and there's many different ways that that can happen. So we'll go through a couple of those.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, Judy, why don't you hit us off right off the top?
Well, one of the reasons you and I had talked about this is we've both had a couple circumstances come up. So I think when people think about the spring market, they're so concerned that everybody's out there because it's the spring market, right? So we feel a little more anxiety, a little more push
Pressure,
thinking that
yeah.
there's so much competition.
Mhm.
And there could be more, there's going to be a little more competition as far as buyers. The good news is there's still more inventory. So that's, good and bad in real estate, but that's not what we're here for. Um, but for example, I just put a buyer, new buyers, brand new first time home buyers, put them under contract on this cute house. They are going to live in the top floor, rent out the bottom floor so they could afford it, right? And we got the seller's disclosures even before inspection. And we were lucky because the sellers disclosed that they made a one car garage into a two-car garage, and it was unpermitted.
Mm.
So that could be a problem. It could not be a problem. So
Right.
I got on the phone before the inspection, tried to get a hold of the building inspector. He actually met me at the house and said, it is unpermitted. It is incorrect. I'm not going to do anything about it, but if a neighbor complains, they could at some point be asked to put this back to a one car garage. So they literally, they're young. They looked at me and said, what should we do? And I said, we should cancel. The concern was, well, what's next, right? And what I don't want to ever do is push somebody into something that's not good for them. And they even asked me, why did you so quickly say cancel? And I prefaced it and said, or I unprefaced it and said, I think you should cancel unless you're willing to take that risk,
Right.
right? Because it's really their choice. But
Sure.
they asked me, what would I do? Because like I told them, my attitude is that I want to work for a buyer and or a seller as if they were my family, my friend. I want to always assume that when they are going to resell this property, right, that they're going to come back to me. And I'm going to be able, in all fairness, all ethics, all everything, I can go into that knowing that I did the right thing from them from day one. Now they might have decided to buy that house,
Sure.
and I that would have been okay. Someone's going to buy it and they're going to be okay with it.
See, I think you're
But
really onto something here. The pressure we were talking about to do something during the spring market, which, unless you have a lease coming up or anything like that, that pressure is all artificial. Like, people
correct.
put that on themselves and you don't need to. Do things happen faster in the spring market? Yes. But that doesn't mean that you need to ignore any problems. I
No.
like Judy was saying, I just had one and they found some mold and it was on the seller's disclosures and they said, "Oh, hey, it's no big deal." But when we had our inspector go out, it was a bigger deal and we needed to get that fixed and they needed to replace the window, including the sill and some of the wall and the insulation and get that all repaired. And a lot of times in the spring rush, people think that they have to like give up on problems or overlook them to get under contract, and it's just not real. There's no reason to buy a home that isn't truly in the position that you need it to be in,
Right.
and the price and the terms are what you are okay with. Number of weeks ago, we did a podcast talking about the buyer packet, all the things
Mm-hmm.
in your buyer packet to create your best foot forward in an offer. That is more important right now than giving up or overlooking any problems or being rushed or
Right.
or offering too high on a house. There's a lot of things there that people think they need to do to get into a home, and it still boils down to a great buyer's packet and good negotiation and communication.
Right. Yeah, and it always comes down to the buyers or the sellers what they want to do. I think it's, and I just knee-jerk reaction was to cancel because I just, the
It's a
protector in
safety
me,
thing.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a protection. And then again, I did say, unless you're willing to take the risk and you want to, it's fine. You just have to know that this is something you would have to come up. So I think it's just really making sure that you feel in control. And yes, you're relying on us for information and some guidance, but as a buyer or a seller, you really need to go with your own gut reaction, and your agent should be okay with that. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't guide you around it and, have you look at all the angles and
exactly.
things like that. Because I've also, there's been things where it's been where a buyer or might have a question, and because I can, or an inspector can, or someone from the city can explain something, they decide to move forward because they feel more comfortable. But I never want someone to feel pushed that
Right.
this is something they have to buy.
Exactly right. And another thing with that, there's always bullies in the real estate market. Some
Mhm.
agents are just bullies. Okay.
Yep.
There's no two ways about it. They exist. Hard pressure sells for their own clients, other
Right.
agents, other people. And that one, I really have no respect for that. I don't like that. I think it's a crummy
Yep.
business, but you don't need to be bullied. If you have an agent that truly cares about what you're looking to do and is working to provide true success for you,
Right.
they also need to have the backbone to stand up to bullies and negotiate and communicate well. I'm like, well, that's great that you want that. It's great that you say that that's your floor or ceiling or whatever, but this is still a negotiation and we're going to put it all in writing,
Right.
send it out and see what's there because there's a lot of things that people say they're willing to do
Right.
and there's other set of things that they're actually willing to do at the end of the day.
Right. And it's everybody's choice at that point, and it's just part of the negotiation. And that's the other thing about being pushed. I try to tell, it's interesting because I have nothing that I can quantify it with, but I always tell buyers and sellers, I promise you it all just works out,
Mhm.
right? So you might think that you're falling in love with this house and it's the perfect thing and it's all of that. And something like this comes up. And I was surprised. This couple actually they were disappointed, but they were relieved, I think, because of it. But I always tell people, don't do something because you think we've been out too many times. Don't just settle because the right one will come up. And it's interesting, we got into contract with them on another house, and they said to me this morning, you were right, we like this one better.
See, and
It just
that's a
all works
wonderful
out.
thing. On
Yeah,
the other side, I tell people, you know, don't be afraid if you find the absolute right one the first time we go out. It happens more often than
totally.
I'd like to, than you can really say.
Hmm.
And there's a big feeling of, oh, if you haven't seen 20, 30 houses, you haven't found the one.
Yep.
And I tell people, it doesn't matter where it's the first house or 100th house. You'll
Usually
feel
no.
it. Like
Hmm.
you will know.
Yep.
And I'd say realistically, it's probably about 25% of the time. The first time we go out and look at houses, they find the right one and the one that they love. And even if we go look at a couple, they're like, no, we got to go back for that one before we
Yep.
lose out on it.
Yep.
And one of the worst things is they fall in love with a house and they go with that, I need to look at 20 or 30 more. And by the time we look at them,
That one's
that one
gone.
that they loved is gone and it just kind of knocks the wind out of their sails and it's really not
Hmm.
as good of an experience for them.
For
But
sure.
whether it's your first home that you're looking at or the 100th home, you'll know. You'll know that your life fits in it. You'll walk in the house and start imagining your life with your couch here, your table there. If we
Yeah.
put in the stand over here, when
Yeah.
you start really imagining your life in that space and it all fits, that's normally what I see from my clients where they truly love it and this is the one for them. And don't ignore that. You have that feeling
Yeah.
for a reason, no matter what house it is that we're looking at.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, so not being pushed into something, whether it's something as obvious as a garage that's been disclosed
Mhm.
or just a gut feeling, buyer remorse, whatever it is, if you're feeling it, you need to feel like you're in a team with your agent and you're able to have that discussion. Just do it
Exactly.
before
Yeah.
due diligence so you can get your money
Yep.
back.
Yep. Do it for due diligence. But I mean, a lot of people with that pressure and the bullying and stuff, some buyers believe that, oh, well, I can't really put a buyer due diligence. I shouldn't make it contingent upon inspection, and that's a horrific idea. Like
So terrible.
that's like a top 10 bad idea. Like you should do that. If you're feeling pressured, imagine you did and you waived the inspection. How much fear and uncertainty you have even after
Hmm.
putting a couple $100,000 of your money or debt on the line and worrying about it. Don't give that up. Don't give up the ability to appraise it unless I
Right.
mean it is under listed and that
Right.
is almost a given. But get those inspections, protect yourself.
Yep.
Make sure that you're looking and you address problems, not the, oh, you've got a cracked, plate over your, electrical switch or anything silly like that.
Right.
But with the big safety items, right? Your electrical, your plumbing, your roof,
For
your
sure.
foundation, things like that. Don't give that up. Like there's gonna be other houses.
That's
Like
right.
Judy said, there's more buyers out there, but there's more houses to look at that are available too.
For sure.
All things in balance, and as long as you're protecting yourself, you're gonna have a good experience.
Yep. Yep. Good. Well, let's move on to the next one. I think let's talk about it's also about being pushed, but it's from a different angle when we talk about the pricing, right? I know a lot of listing agents don't have the right conversation with their sellers about the spring market because everybody thinks the spring market is a seller's market.
Right.
So watching out the conversation or the wording when your agent comes back and says, "Oh, I talked to the listing agent and they said, oh, we had other offers at such and such. Can't be at that number," right? But if you think it's that number, or whatever you want, whatever you and your agent have decided the comps say the market should be, that's what you should be providing in your purchase agreement. So be careful not to be bullied again by a listing agent if you're the buyer. And if you're a seller and your listing agent is really pushing the fact that, oh, it's a seller's market, it's spring, you'll get full price. Be careful if you have an agent that's going to tell you that as well.
Be careful of any agent promising you any price because
Anything, because we
we
don't know.
don't, yeah, no matter how good we are at
We
our job,
almost
we don't know until an offer comes in on what someone's actually willing to pay for it. I could look at your house like, oh yeah, $1.2 million. And
right.
a lot of weak agents will say, oh, it's a good market. If your house is worth, let's call it 635, and say, oh, We'll put it up for 675. We'll get it. Okay. And a lot of times for us from a seller's perspective, that sounds really good. I'll get that extra money. And then when it sits on the market, week two, three, four, five,
Yep.
then it's, well, we need to put it down, put it down, put it down.
Right.
Well, I'll be darned if that house is worth about 635. When you put the house down at about 635, boy, that's when the phone's going to start ringing.
That's right. It's amazing, isn't it?
There's
Yeah.
there's a right price for every house in the area that it's in and in the condition that it's in. There is a right price. If you're listed and you're not getting offers, something's missing. It's
Yep.
either what your home is, how it shows, something is not giving the value proposition
Right.
to, defend that price point.
Yep. Yep. So sellers beware as well, because there are agents that will come out, they will price it wherever you want it priced, tell you what you want to hear, and unfortunately, then your home will sit on the market. So you have to be really careful about that being pushed in that direction, because it's the killer of every market.
It is. And the most views you're ever going to get on your house is your first 10 days.
Yep.
Any agent that tells
You
you
know.
otherwise is lying to you. The
Hmm.
most eyes you're going to get is that first 10 days.
Yep.
And if you're massively overpriced and no one even cares about it that first 10 days, does that mean it won't sell? No. You'd have to get back into the price range that,
Right.
holds that value, but you've missed that opportunity.
That's right.
Pricing well, even pricing under the highest, because my what I like to do is price second highest. I don't want to be the highest priced in the
Or
neighborhood
the lowest. Yeah.
or the lowest. I want to be number two if the
Hmm.
home shows well, because we're the first good deal on the block. And that's the one that more than likely gets multiple offers and they're competing for your home. And in a lot of cases, you will end up netting more money by being reasonable on your sales price, marketing well, and letting competition put you in a place where you ultimately bring home more money. And more importantly, the best terms. I'll take better terms, like I've said a bunch of times. I'll take better terms
Yep.
over the
Yep.
highest price because I
Just as
want to
important.
see us at the settlement table with everybody happy where we want to be.
For sure. And listen, I've taken listings a little overpriced and it's a test, but I have a very strong conversation with my sellers. This is a test. And we will know in that first 7 to 10 days. So in 10 days, we'll be talking again if we don't have either showings, an offer, or some combination thereof. And sometimes it works out, but it's not grossly overpriced, right?
Right. Grossly overpriced is just out. There are times,
Right.
especially if your home is unique, okay, or if there's a lot of push on the markets drop or the rates drop, things like that. There are times we might really well be able to pull that rubber band just a little bit and get away with it.
Yep.
And if we can for you, great. But pricing it over at all has to be, like Judy said, it's got to be well communicated. We'll give this a try. We're a little over market, but we'll give this a try for 10 days. If we don't have one bona fide offer or at
Hmm.
least 10 showings, we're
Right.
overpriced. We gotta pull it down. We gotta make it right.
Yep.
And that will make it so it's not catastrophic. So you're 80, 90 days on the market. People look at it and think there's something terribly wrong with your house,
Right.
which there may not be, but you've wasted that sweet spot of the time on the market being
For
overpriced.
sure. For sure.
And
So
it,
on the buyer side, again, for like the getting bullied into offering more than either the comps say or what you're comfortable with. Example, the couple that bought the house that we canceled were now under contract on a new property and it happens to be agent owned. So I talked to the agent before I do the offer, which I always do. And she said, look, we already had an offer at 600. We're not going to take 600. I did the comps. I have the reasons. I tell my clients this, and they're like, well, do we need to offer more? And I said, no, we don't. But I'm going to go in with this very strong explanation of why we have this. And she even said to me after I gave it to her, they accepted our offer as is, 600. And she said, it helped to have you write it out. She said, it wasn't me, it was my husband because he's the non-agent seller.
Right.
So as your buyer's agent, they should be having a conversation with the listing agent. They should be writing out why you're coming in at this price. Like we talked about a few podcasts ago, we used to in when I sold in Michigan, we would sit down with as a buyer's agent. I would sit down with the listing agent and the seller, and I would present my buyer's offer and be able to explain all of this. We don't do that anymore.
More's the pity because that would be amazing.
Oh, it was so
And the
good.
skill set that you have
It
from
was
that would
so
be
good.
remarkable.
It was so
But
good.
I
But
mean,
now
if
I do
you're
it in the email
exactly
and a
email,
conversation.
phones, things like that,
Hmm.
we have a very similar theme in most of our podcasts, communication.
Everything. Yep,
Open, honest communication wins out 99% of the time.
for sure.
And there, I had one very similar recently. There were offers for a higher price, okay, on a house for a
Yes,
while. And they told me that, and they told me the price that they had, and they're not supposed to tell us that, but
they do.
it's
If you
in there.
ask, they might tell you. You never know.
Exactly. Doesn't hurt to ask, but they're not supposed to tell you. Anyways, so he told me this, and I said, "That's fantastic." He's like, "Well, I'm going to need, a better offer. Give me your highest and best."
Hmm.
And I told him over the phone. I said, "All right, well, great. Let's do this." My money, the money that we offered was the same. Our terms, we shortened up the buyer due diligence a little bit. We shortened up the financing and appraisal a little bit. Shortened up the settlement date a little bit, which was all fine. And I knew ahead of time with my lender, we were all going to make all that work, and my
Right.
inspector, and our earnest money was right. Everything was where it needed to be, and we gave them 72 hours to vacate after recording,
Oh, yeah.
and all of that ended up being more important to that seller than $7,000 in cash.
Yep,
So just to give you an idea, the right terms have a ton of value
for sure.
equal to thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
It's not all about, hey, let me throw all the money at it. We won't worry about appraisal. That's foolhardy.
Yep.
You've got to protect yourself, and there's ways to put that in with those terms and a good communicating agent
Yep.
to get you where you need to be and keep as much money in your pocket as the buyer and give you the most money as the seller. You have to have a strong communicator. If they're not willing to talk to other agents, figure it's probably going to cost you $10,000 or more on either side.
Oh, for sure. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know about you, Shay. Well, I know because you and I have talked about this off podcast is sometimes the hardest part of our job is just getting the other agent on the phone to have a conversation.
It is. And there's a lot of I'm not going to throw all younger agents under the bus because it's
Oh no.
not.
Right.
There's older agents and younger agents that do this, but there are agents that have gotten really enamored with the technological part of this
Hmm.
business. And you can realistically go from the beginning and listing to the settlement of a transaction without ever hearing the voice of the other agent. Like it can be done.
Can be.
And there's a lot of
Mm,
agents that do it. I just think it's foolhardy because just that open communication of what's important to your client, what's important to
yes.
my client. You're not betraying any, secrets or anything, and it's not going to cost you anything with your
No,
negotiation. You have to be careful with the words you use.
of
But
course.
what's really important? Other than price, what's really important? What terms are important? Are
Yep.
they moving here? Are they moving there? Is it a new construction? Are they sure they're going to have their certificate of occupancy and be able to move in? Does that need to be something that has a little bit of wiggle room? Things like that, you're not going to get in an email when you just put it on a digital thing to get the listing. You sent it through
No.
a digital format you've never talked. You're never going to know these things,
Yep.
and you're never going to be able to uncover the need that they didn't talk about. But when
Right.
you bring it to light, all of a sudden you're addressing something that is truly more valuable than a
Right.
little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that communication is huge. And I was lucky, even on the one with the garage, um, that agent and then this agent who's the owner of the property downtown, it's been fantastic. I mean, it makes you feel like you're co-working with somebody.
Yeah.
You still have everybody's best interest and there's some separateness, but it's a team effort versus,
Exactly right.
being against each other.
And fiduciary duty to your client does not mean that you can't have a great relationship with the
Right.
other agent. I would say the opposite is probably more true. Having your fiduciary duties and really understanding that you're working for your client necessitates good communication.
For sure.
And the deals where you find someone that's got a great work ethic and integrity on the other side, and they're willing to work and communicate, it's
Huge.
better for us as agents, but your client has a better experience. You're able to talk through things and not have a whole bunch of, small problems destroy everything. And I think the two go hand in hand realistically.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about it. It makes all the difference in everything. Yep.
So,
Good.
one other one that I wanted to bring up real quick, lock your rate. Ask,
Yep.
well, okay, hold on. Let me preface. Talk to your lender about watching the rate and locking it when it's right.
When they feel it's right, because they have a
Yes.
feeling, they know.
And they
Well,
watch it all day
they don't
long. This is
know,
their
but they have a
business.
feeling. Yeah.
They have a really good feeling. And the rate right now is bouncing up and down, day by
Daily.
day, sometimes intraday, right? What you could lock in at 9 in the morning may very well not be what you can lock a rate in at 2 in the afternoon. It can
That's right.
change. But the difference of a quarter of a point can be tens of thousands of dollars easily.
Yes.
Half point, definitely. Small moves over the course of 30 years, that's 360 months,
Hmm.
can have a big impact. So when you're getting into this, make sure you do that. I have I have a lender that is, absolutely a rock star. Okay, no two ways about it. She actually called me and said, "Hey, the rates are bouncing right now, and I think we've got a good spot. Are you ready to lock this client?" I was actually walking through on a second walkthrough of the house that we got under contract. Do
Like,
you think they're
yes.
ready? I told them, "Hey guys, no pressure, but if you guys love this might be a good time to lock this rate because it's in a sweet spot." And we did. And then by later that day, it had popped
Had
up.
already gone up,
So we saved them tens of thousands of dollars in interest.
for
And
sure.
it's very important because the rates are moving up and down. The rates, some people say they're terrible. They're not.
They're
Okay.
not
Historically, they're not. Okay. They're not at all. 7 has been like the go-to rate for
average.
1,000
Hmm.
years since dinosaurs walked the earth. Not really, because it used to be in like the 13s and stuff.
Yeah.
But the rates are not bad, but taking advantage of every little dip is important.
Yep.
So that's one thing I wanted to jump in there and holler at.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, if we're gonna, I know this is a little maybe off topic, but not really, is and when we're talking about locking a rate or the rates, I have talked with the lender, with the clients, and so that they can show them that it might be better to buy this house at 615 and get 15 in concessions so we can put that towards your buy down of your rate because $15,000 in your mortgage is going to be a lot less than a whole point or half or three quarters of a point that you can buy it
Right.
down.
Like
So
a 2-1 rate buy down and things like that.
or
Absolutely
not
make.
even a 2-1, just a full buy down of that rate. So,
Yeah.
I say that this couple got the house at 600. They really paid 615 for it, but they got 15,000 in concessions to buy their rate down. So it significantly changes their payment
Right.
and
In the
everything
long
moving
term, it
forward.
saves them a ton.
Exactly. So you're putting it into the, it's a whole thing. But there's different ways to make it better for each party. So
Yeah.
Again, don't be pushed into one way. Make sure you understand what your options are.
Right. And I think that's what we kind of really keep going back to on this one is don't get too emotionally invested. It's always excited to get a house or sell
Hmm.
your house. It's exciting. Don't let that feeling overtake your rational thought and cost you money or put you in a place where you have
Yep.
liability or a house that has
Yep.
problems. Try and keep your cool. It's wonderful to be excited about a house. Like we love that for you.
Oh, for
Big time.
sure.
I love it when you love the house. I love it when you totally geek out. Like I'm with you. But protect yourself so you can be giddy and geeking out about that house three,
For
four, five,
years.
6 years
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah.
And don't get bullied. Don't let anybody bully you. If you're with an agent that has no backbone, like Call Judy or I, we actually do, we're not going to let anybody push you around. And we
Hmm.
honestly want what's best for you.
Yep.
We'll get giddy and excited with you, but we'll also, in the background, be making sure that nobody's trying to get away with nothing and we got you taken care of.
Right. I mean, selling houses, getting closings, having a paycheck, of course, that's why we do this. But if an agent is more focused on just the deal, that's a problem. I
It's
want
a
it to
big
be the
problem.
right deal. I want to work for you getting what you want.
That and I mean, Judy, how many wonderful friends have you made in this business?
Oh, a
Like
lot,
lifelong friends, like
a lot,
tons. You take care of them. I have made more friends in this business, and I am a
for sure,
painful extrovert. I want to love on all the people. I want everybody to be my friend. Oh my gosh.
for sure.
And the only way to do that is to truly care for them like their
Yes,
family, like they are your great friend. Find someone that truly cares about you as a
yes,
person, that takes the time to get to know what your house does for you. Of course, you live in it, but how it works as an
right,
investment, what your long-term plans are. Get deep into the conversation because the more we know about where you want to be, not just, 3
right.
months from now in this house, like that's surface level. That's fine.
Yep.
Tell me where you want to be in 3, 5, 10, 15 years
Hmm.
because that can make a change in what we
Totally.
want to do. And the more we can customize the best possible option for you, the better off you're going to be. And the longer we're going to be buddies, and the more you're going to like me, and the more you're going to invite me to cool barbecues and stuff.
We love that.
That's what's important. That's what's truly important.
I agree. I agree.
All right. I think that about wraps us up, unless there's something that we're missing.
No, I mean, we could probably talk for hours on this, but
For sure.
just don't feel rushed or pushed. You have somebody who's looking out for your best interest. That's what you're really looking, and you should be grateful for.
Absolutely. If you have any questions and you're thinking about taking advantage of the spring market, either as a buyer or as a seller or as an investor for that matter,
Yep.
give us a call, let us know. Please share this with anyone that you know that this could help. And write us a comment. Let us know what you want us to tackle in our next podcast. And we'd be happy to put that together and answer it for you. And
Yep.
we will talk to you in the next one.
Sounds good. See you next week.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Deep Dive Dealcast. If you found value today, hit subscribe and share the episode with someone who's ready to think deeper about deals. We'll be back next week with another deep dive.